So let's talk about narcissism without using the buzzwords and the common parlance as much as possible. Okay? To issue a challenge to the buzzword guys. Okay? Including mainstream psychology, to which this physical body does actually have a major in. So this physical body actually has a social science degree with a psych major and graduated in 2010 in New South Wales, state of New South Wales in Australia. At that time, the university that was studied at was ranked the second best psychology school on the entire planet out of all the other in the university ranking system. That's kind of impressive, isn't it? Australia doesn't have a high population, so that's pretty good effort. Anyway, that's that school's credit. If you believe in ranking systems. If you believe in ranking systems, did you hear that? Anyway, yeah. So the signs and titles let's look at where narcissism really comes from. It comes from the aristocracy. What? No, it comes from people who are disenfranchised when they were children or something like that. They had to do as you're told type parenting, and they internalised that as resentment and just started lying all the time to cover their tracks because they never did anything bloody right according to the standards of those fucking fools. And so they became habitual liars in adulthood. That's barely accurate. Not to say that everyone who goes through that particular experience does that. Some people actually decide to be habitually honest. Because they're aware that that idiot was the one fibbing, not them. The projection is to go, yeah, you can't, that one. Okay, so it really depends on their circumstances. If the person had Aspergers, for example, they were more likely to be honest. Okay, one of the social skills that's apparently lacking in autism is the filter. They're often quite honest people to the point of pissing other people off. Yeah. Okay, so they're not really habitual liars at all. If they were, they'd have better social skills. Dishonesty is a social skill. It's also a problem. Maybe autism is a means by which society tries to show how little it values honesty. They've literally given these people, they've described that there are these people called people with Aspergers, okay, you see? Okay, let's look at this. Myth-making of Aspergers as opposed to severe sensory processing disorder in people who are so overwhelmed they turned into the point where they don't talk to you anymore, called autism proper. So let's look at Asperger's syndrome as a myth that society created to cover up for its mistakes. There are these people who have such poor social skills that they're habitually honest to the point of being blunt. They just seem to say whatever is on their mind at the time. They don't filter it properly. Oh, they must be defective somehow. What? Honesty is defective. It's not good salesmanship, it's poor form. They must be damaged somehow. They're not fitting in. Wait, honesty is devalued? Oh, okay, that's interesting. They lack a theory of mind. They don't believe other people have minds. Well, that's a load of crap. They do know other people have minds. They definitely know that. Each and every one. They know other physical bodies are different from their own to start off with. Oh, that is implied through the misuse of pronouns. Okay, so when that physical body over there says the word you, they're referring to someone other than their physical body. And when that physical body uses the pronoun I, they're referring to their own physical body. Is that not correct? That's how people with Asperger's perceive it. Oh, it implies they lack a self-other distinction. But that isn't true. They've just correctly used pronouns. Is it not the case that the narcissist that uses DARVO inverts pronouns to blame someone else for what they're doing? Yes, they do. But the autistic person, the Asperger's person, is a hyperfluid individual that is hearing the pronouns as they're said by that person and applying, as often as people can do in the English language, hearing the words as they're actually used, what their actual definitions are. Oh, hang on. Wait, but so if people use the pronouns incorrectly and the person hears them as the pronouns are intended in the English language, what their actual definition is, then the person hearing the words as they're defined in the English language are defective? They've got an illness of some kind or a developmental delay? Wait, so they've got a language problem because they're actually using the language or perceiving the language as it's being used, or the words mean, or how they taught the words mean? Hang on a second. So if you're honest, if somebody's honest and they are aware that other physical bodies exist and they acknowledge that pronouns are a way to refer to different physical bodies and they hear them appropriately or use them appropriately, then somehow they have a faulty self-other distinction, lack a theory of mind, and have poor social skills. So honesty is devalued. Okay, so a diagnosis of Asperger's means that someone is devaluing honesty. The Asperger's person is honest. Oh. It might be associated with sensory processing issues. They seem to complain that the sounds are too loud. They sometimes have trouble with volume control when they're talking, so they talk a bit too loud or something like that. And they might be sensitive to particular types of fabrics or foods. Oh, okay, so post-industrial world, this diagnosis called Asperger's has been created, specifically in environments where there's loud factories and machines, and the world is in fact louder than it used to be, where they're given synthetic fabrics or fabrics that are sensitive to skin, and they're commenting that they are sensitive to it. They have a problem with their senses. So if someone's in a loud environment and they say that the environment is loud, they're defective. If someone is wearing fabrics or clothes that are unnatural for their body to wear because they've only just been invented, like, some of those fabrics that are made from plastics or whatever, then there's something wrong with them for noticing. Oh, hang on a second. Wait, so if a person notices that the environment is loud, then not processing things properly. Oh, and if they're honest about it, then there's something wrong with them. Oh, okay then. That sounds like bullshit. Okay. Here's another one. The person doesn't appear to be making eye contact. They don't appear to look at people when people are talking to them. Oh, so they're in a loud environment where there's a lot of external stimuli that can be distracting. And they're trying to show respect by paying attention to what that person's saying. And so they're turning their ear towards that person so they can hear them properly. But it means they lack social skills. Oh, that's really fascinating. So if you're trying to pay attention to pay attention to what someone's saying, you lack social skills? Wait. They've got no theory of mind of other people. They lack social skills because they're paying attention and telling the truth. So people who pay attention and tell the truth and acknowledge that the environment has particular stimuli in it are somehow defective, aren't they? Are you fucking serious? Are you dead set fucking serious, you arseholes? The people around them are lying and use inverting pronouns, or some of the people around them are lying and inverting pronouns as an act of DARVO on that person. Because, their accusation is actually confession in the case of the narcissistic behaviour, right? And the autistic person here's the pronoun as stated and simply hasn't been taught how DARVO works at that point in their life because they're habitually honest, they don't necessarily know how dishonesty works. Dishonesty in their mind is not something that they're accustomed to. Lack of awareness of how things truly operate might be there because people don't know, they don't know. But they're not willfully deceptive people. If they're going to lie to you, it's GIGO. It's been noticed that with Aspergers, when they do lie, it's GIGO. Right? Garbage went in, so garbage came out. Oh. So someone does DARVO on them, and they don't know it's DARVO, and they respond to the language as it's used, so they're being honest and paying attention. Why isn't the liar the one that's being treated as the one who's problematic? Why is there a greater incidence of people being diagnosed with Aspergers in Anglophone societies? Is that because the environment's louder? Is that because the pronouns don't make sense? Is that because this petit bourgeois style of overvaluing appearances over substance has become more commonplace? Is it because the competition over resources in a corporatised, casualised workforce has led to strain? Is it because people are piled on top of each other that it's more noisy and therefore they start to fight a bit? No, it's got to be because they're defective. Seriously, get fucked.